This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Why did I just overhear Lewis say the 15th of the month I get a check whether the camera is on or off or in Billy's ass?
Because he's got really bad energy today about him over in that corner. He comes in like this guapo that's coming in and he's
Not
like
true.
laying down laws and he's making ordinance. And I'm like, get over to your corner with sick Tony over there because
That's not
Tony's
true.
been coughing and he has
I
something
have not
going on with
coughed
his
once.
eyes and he keeps telling everybody he's not sick. He just has sinusitis, but his wife is sick. And it's like, dude, you're sick. Like, stay sick over
I
there
have
in the corner.
sinusitis.
My wife
I
is sick
haven't
now
coughed.
too. I know it's coming for me. I'm going to get a fever at some point in the next 2 days. Just stay over
Estoy
there away
entero.
from me.
Stop that. No,
and
no,
then
stop
Lewis, who's Tony's hype man, who whatever Tony does, he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Over there in the corner. It's like, dude, just chill over there in the corner. And then they were giving me this attitude. And I said, you know what I'm going to do, Lewis? I'm going to turn on the Zoom camera in the middle of a segment just to throw everything off, just so you're going to have to do extra work today. And then that's when he said that he doesn't care because he gets paid the 15th of the month regardless.
This place, if this were a football team, you would see during the game teammates tackling each other, like on offense on the same team. The running back is running for a clean sweep, and then the pulling guard just turns around and tackles him. Is the kind of teamwork you get out here. Stugotz, are you and Billy? God Bless Football starts on Friday?
Yep, God Bless Football starts on Friday. We got some big-time guests coming on. I got Stugotz. I mean, we got a lot going on this Friday
That
for God
sounds
Bless
as
Football.
random as Greg Cody's visible ad read.
No,
Some big-time guests. You could be more specific.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. There's a reason.
And much, much more.
There's a reason for that because we've already recorded with 2 big time guests. The problem is we have, I believe, 3 more interviews set up.
Big time or no?
So. You know what I mean? Like there, names that you would know. It's just now, Dan, because there's a limited time for that, and there's also stupidity. Now it's kind of where we figure out where the puzzle pieces fit. You know what I mean? Like who's going to get on God Bless Football? Who's going to be stupidity this week? So we don't want to. You know what? I'll just tell you some of the names. So should I tell them some of the names?
Yeah, tell him.
Tell them.
We have Jalen Hurts on one of them this week.
Yes.
We have Marcus Freeman on one of them this week.
After a loss?
After a loss. Yeah.
Those are some big-time guests.
Well, hold on. After a win, Ryan Day is scheduled to appear with us.
We have Notre Dame, Ohio State covered.
On one of these.
Yep. After the game. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have friend of the show. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this one yet, Stugotz, or not.
You could say it.
Mina Kimes is scheduled to join us somewhere at some point. And then we have Sims and Golick, and then the whole, Mojo, Chris Gronkowski, K-Funk, Java situation, who has promised us a guest as well, but won't tell us who the guest is. So we'll be surprised by their guest.
Can you explain this to me?
Classic
All right,
K-Funk.
all right, let's go ahead and chronicle this because that podcast is a raging success, internationally awarded prizes. Billy is now the 5th ranked insider in the world, not just the United States, because of God Bless Football. It is a sprawling mess, at least because Billy, what happened?
How so?
Well, just because these Gronks, the Gronk family makes a mess. They leave. Like when they leave, it's as if a family of bears have been in your kitchen. When
But fun
when
bears.
them and
It's
all
a
their
Russian
friends.
nesting doll of meatheads.
I mean, it's just it's an unspooling.
I'll have you know one of them has an MBA. Not one of the Gronks, Mojo.
Right. Yeah.
And he claims to be the youngest person to ever get an MBA from the University of Maryland.
Yep. Dan, I'll say this, that, we have Golick on every week. We have Sims on every week. We get great guests. I mean, I think Billy would agree with me. The most fun we have is with those 4 meatheads for 20 minutes every single week. They just make us laugh. They make us smile.
I thought, though, that there were also, I've heard over the last, 18 months, you and them making all sorts of plans. We're going to do a remote in Vegas. We're going to a bachelor party. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to be with Gronk. Yeah. And it seems like they take your microphones and they don't actually invite you guys to anything.
No,
they invite you, but then it doesn't end up happening.
Well, Daddy's got to give us a company card, you know what I mean? And then we can make these things happen. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day sometimes.
Yeah. They invite us. We just don't attend, Dan.
Yeah.
They've invited us to everything. Like, we're invited to Mojo's wedding. It's in Italy.
That's something that we're going to have to discuss on this week's episode because I was told by someone the invites for that have gone out.
Yeah.
And I have not gotten one. I don't know if Stugotz got one. I'm assuming Stugotz didn't get one, but
I got one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
He's lying.
No, you didn't.
Where is it?
Billy, I'll forward it to you right now.
Did you really
Yo,
get one?
Chicken time.
I have the invitation, chickens.
Okay.
Send it to me right now. Send it to me right now.
Okay, hold on.
I've been told that it's at a castle in Italy. The thing is that we've blown them off so many times that now we're not getting invited to as many things.
You know what's funny about that, Billy? I learned the other day, to my shock and amazement, castles, surprisingly reasonable.
That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. They were saying to rent a castle in Italy costs like the same to have a wedding here in America.
Couldn't believe it. I couldn't. When somebody was, I had to go look it up, and they're like, nope, they got a bunch of them, and they got like B&Bs out there, and you could, or C&Cs or whatever it is you want to call.
You just
them.
wanted breakfast. So you're like, I want to rent a castle.
No. I was not looking to rent a castle for myself. I was talking to people about Moss events.
At a castle?
And I was told it's surprisingly cheap to rent a castle.
You want to have the saddest Moss event ever? Not K-Moss. That's going to be a raging success. We should have one at Coral Castle.
Oh my God.
Are you familiar with Coral Castle?
Go ahead, Billy.
Do you know Coral Castle, Dan, or no? Coral
do
Castle
not.
is one of the creepiest places in Miami that has ever existed.
Wow.
Look up Coral Castle, Google Coral Castle. Coral Castle is this, if I remember correctly from the visit that I made to Coral Castle, it's like off of US 1 somewhere, I think, like in the middle of nowhere. And it's like this shrine that this kind of, God rest his soul, creepy guy made to some woman that he was like in love with, that I think never ended up marrying her, and he made her a castle.
This is not where the Wades got married, is it?
No. This is like a castle that's like made out of coral that he got out of wherever, and he shaped them like the shapes of moons, and it was like this massive thing that he meant for a lover that I don't think that he ever had. And now it's just there, and you can kind of go visit it off the side of the road somewhere. His spirit haunts it? Well, that's from Lewis, so we don't know if it's true or not.
As God Bless Football gets ready to take off into the sky, Stugotz, can you answer the question for me of whether or not this century the Patriots have gone into a season with expectations here?
Where, this low? Billy, by the way, I just sent you the invite to the wedding. You'll be upset you didn't get it. So, no, with the expectations this low, I would say maybe the season...
Not this low, Stugotz, where there are no expectations. The Patriots...
There are no expectations.
Is this the first time this century that the Patriots, or I guess probably at the beginning of the century, you would have before the Brady thing?
No, but Dan,
Bledsoe-
keep
they
in
drew
mind
Bledsoe
that
back then.
keep in mind, I think Bledsoe was the quarterback for those Patriot teams. They were still very good teams, and then Brady eventually took over for Bledsoe because he got hurt. So there were expectations headed into that season. Maybe, I don't know. Do you remember what the expectations, what the talk was the year Brady left, like 2 years ago? Was anyone expecting anything from them?
It was
anyone
Cam
talking
Newton.
about them?
Cam Newton was their quarterback.
Oh,
People
you're right.
thought that,
Yeah, Cam.
that Belichick was going to do something
People
with Cam
thought
Newton.
people thought Cam was going to work out. I remember thinking, that's old Cam.
But it's more that Bill Belichick still had his credibility,
Yeah.
whereas now it's 2 years removed from Bill Belichick's full height of his credibility, and now people are starting to look at him, and you're saying you're handing off your offense to Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. You're handing your defense off to your sons. Are you just doing the whole thing? Like, is this just an entirely Bill Belichick show? And the reports from training camp, which are more credible than whatever happens in preseason, is that they couldn't be functional for a day of practice this entire offseason.
Matt Patricia, the reporting has been a disaster, right? Doesn't even make sense, the idea that he would be calling plays on offense for that team, and then they share it with Judge, and now nobody knows who's calling the plays.
Yeah, Mac Jones, I don't know if he said this or has or vocalized frustration during a practice once where he said the number of dead-end plays that we have is astounding. Like, where I run to the sideline and there's nothing. There is nothing for me to do with the football. Like that, it's just startling. It's startling.
And the dead end plays, I love the idea of just somebody running into a corner somewhere and just stopping and being like, okay, this is a dead end, and just dropping the football and going back to the huddle.
And I want to plug something that Chris Cody and Tony did last Friday, our Miami Dolphins season preview. I believe, did the New England Patriots not sign Devontae Parker? Yeah, they did. And Tony had a stat on that podcast episode where he was saying that Devontae Parker in the NFL for the last 2 seasons
has been the worst receiver in separation.
He has the lowest separation.
127th and 132nd out of all receivers. He's been the lowest of separation.
And so the Patriots bring
I don't think
him
that's
in,
good.
And that is not going to help solve the problem of dead end plays.
Billy, you have on your computer, I believe, the first ever loss by the Kentucky Fried Chickens.
Yeah. Stugotz was invited to this wedding.
Eat it.
He sent me the evite. I'm now on the wedding website. I'm seeing all the details, the wedding hashtags, the registry.
What's the hashtag?
The hashtag?
Look at how happy Stugotz is. Tony, for that question,
Well-
go ahead and go and sit in the penalty box. Sit your sick ass in the penalty box.
Yeah,
for
he's
that
sick. I'm telling you, cover your face. Don't
microphone.
go
Goes
way
there.
over
Go there with
Yeah.
him. 5-minute major.
Go over there. Stugotz, though, like, here's my question to you. Have you RSVP'd? Because there's a very quick turnaround. This was sent August 23rd, and the date, well, it doesn't matter. No one's going to go, is October 16th, which is like 5 weeks or something. So have you RSVP'd? Are you going to this?
No, I haven't. I told him I received the email. I haven't told him what I'm doing yet. I mean, I'm going to.
He's doing the same thing. This thing with Stugotz, there it is. Whittingham's dropping his head in his hands, his manicured hair into his hands because he knows Stugotz. It's the weirdest thing. He is commitment phobic. He will kick any can down the road. He will not commit to anything ever, even if it's the next day. He says, "I'll get back to you."
I feel like Obama could invite him golfing, and he would be like, "Nah."
Let me check my schedule.
Yeah.
Look at my calendar.
What
What's
time?
happening there, Billy? As the producer of Stugotz and God Bless Football, what is happening there? Because it's the same with you, right? It's some version of "I'll let you know." And
Nah. Nah. I mean, here's the thing. Stugotz, when he tells you maybe, already knows what the answer is. Just doesn't want to say anything that will upset you.
isn't maybe always no? Isn't always no?
98% of
I'll
the
let
time
you
it's
know.
no.
Unless you really shame
Allow me
him.
to answer for myself. When I give you a maybe, it's a strong lean to being no.
No, it's
if
not.
I give you a
No, it's
yes
not.
right out of the gate,
No. It depends on the situation. Because if it's like, Stugotz, can you maybe come here? Then it's probably no. He's not going to come. But then Stugotz will use a maybe in another direction. I don't know what happened to me there. In another direction, and he'll say, "I may be going to Chicago for 6 months straight, and I'll let you know." And then you're like, "Okay, well, when is that?" He's like, "I'll get back to you." And then it's like, "Well, it's today. See you in September." And it's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "I told you. I let you know that it's maybe."
Little hug and I'm off on my way.
Exactly,
By the
yeah.
way, October 16th. I mean, the Jets play the Packers. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's a big one.
The thing is, I am not a psychologist. I did take one class, though, in college, so I may be qualified to do this. I think what it is Stugotz just doesn't want to disappoint people and upset people, so he doesn't give them the straight answer right away, which just leads to more disappointment on the back end of the situation.
Yeah. He's identified it correctly, Dan. That's kind of what's going on with me. Listen, really what I'm pursuing, really what the chase is to get the invite. Whether I go or not doesn't really matter. As long as I get invited, like Marcus Freeman
That is
has
weird,
invited
Matt.
me to spend 24 hours with him at Notre
Spoiler
Dame.
alert.
Now, I told him I'd go, but there's a good chance I won't. But at least I got the invite. I mean, how about that?
But you did promise him a specific day that you were going to go do this.
Why
though.
wouldn't you do that? That'd be a funny bit. You shadowing him all for 24
Because
hours.
it's work.
Stugotz,
He's got to
if
get on
any-
a plane,
if
and it's
any
not
of
for the
us-
dead.
If any of us got the invite to go to a wedding in Italy and we had the resources to be there, and presumably Mojo Riley's wedding is going to be very fun. Yeah. It's in a castle in Italy. Book your plane ticket and go, man. Go!
Yeah, Jets Packers. I mean,
You'll see 1,000 Jets Packers games for the rest of your life. Go to a castle in Italy, would you please?
nah, I won't.
Well,
I'm going to Castle in Green Bay, Lambeau Field. That's where I'm going.
Well, Stugotz, you did just get permission to not be around those days because it's a Sunday through Wednesday. So you could now just say, like, yeah, I'm going to go.
We're not
No one's gonna
monitoring
know.
anybody's vacation time. It's why he's from home today and doing an hour, and Amin is flying in. Like, we're not monitoring vacation time. He can go wherever he wants, whenever he wants. I wanted to ask you guys this. When I saw Patrick Beverley show up at Laker camp with the press conference, and when they asked him, hey, you're playing with Anthony Davis and LeBron, and his response was, they're playing with me. They're playing with Patrick Beverley. I was in the playoffs last year. They were not. Is Patrick Beverley the Stugotz of the NBA, where Westbrook greets him at the press conference because everyone knows whatever Patrick Beverley says, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a bunch of gibberish. It's a bunch of words. It's filled with just noise making so that he can get attention for himself. But Russell Westbrook isn't actually someone who's beefing with him.
I actually don't think he's that Stugotzian, because I think he believes everything that he's saying, isn't he? Like, Patrick Beverley does actually believe that it is an honor to play with him. There is a reason why playoff teams over and over again want to have him in their team, because he's the irrational confidence guy that it's no problem being out on the floor during the NBA Finals. There are other players who have confidence issues and get run off because of defense or whatever. Patrick Beverley, if he gets a chance to shoot a three in an NBA Finals game, he's got no problem shooting it.
You don't think that Stugotz, when he says maybe, he believes himself, that it's not a lie because Stugotz believes it? Isn't that why he's such a pathological liar?
No, if Stugotz were Patrick Beverley, he would say, I'm going. I will be at that wedding. I will be the life of the party, and then not show up. But the maybe hemming and hawing, that's not very Beverly.
But that's what he told.
No, Patrick Beverley doesn't show up every night. Get the hell out of here. I mean, come on.
He told Marcus Freeman he will show up. It depends on how famous you are. That's another thing. He will not. He will lie to you more boldly if you're famous about, yes, whatever you want, whatever you need, I will do, and then not do it. What are you shaking your head about, Whittingham?
Just like, that's a cool thing. Like, you're going to be spending some time in the greater Illinois area that's not far away from Notre Dame. Like, just say yes. Set a date. Go.
I did say yes, and we did set a date. My daughter, Northwestern, is playing Notre Dame at Notre Dame, and so I've set a date with Marcus Freeman, who, let me tell you, win, lose, it doesn't matter. That guy goes to sleep every night waking up knowing that he's going to be the best-looking guy in any room he walks into. What a feeling that must be. What a handsome devil. Seriously.
Totally with you. The fist pump after they went up 7-3. ESPN goes to break with the slow-motion montage of Marcus Freeman celebrations. My God, Pa.
Stugotz, did you see that McAfee got another coveted job last night? According to Front Office Sports, he's going to be on College Gameday.
Jesus.
Every weekend. And it made me think, Stugotz, because he's got to navigate so many things here with wrestling. I don't know whether he's going to do private plane stuff or not, but the fact that the college football season has already started makes me think that McAfee was negotiating tough with them, made the season start because he's so coveted, and then at the last minute, everything comes together, and all of a sudden he's going to be in Austin for Texas, Alabama this weekend. But the season has already started, and I do think that they have to add some life to that show and keep developing it, and they have to find a replacement for Corso. I don't know how they're going to end up using McAfee, but the next iteration of this show, whenever it is that Corso is gone, it's going to need... what is it, 36 years now that show has been around? It's going to need something. And now that he's working with Peyton Manning and Omaha Productions on a bunch of other stuff, McAfee is killing it again. Not since Rolf Benershka hosted Daytime Wheel of Fortune has an NFL kicker of any sort
parlayed into so
it's
much.
Unbelievable, but he's using everybody. He's not. He doesn't have to commit to anybody. He just gets to jump from platform to platform, and he's just overtaking the industry. There's nobody doing the things that he's doing. Congratulations to him, man, because I don't know where he's going to find the time to do all these things, but basically it is just people want to be around a likable energy, a high energy. He's got a lot of enthusiasm, and it's what I was telling you about Robert Griffin III and his broadcasts. Like, I do think there is the possibility that the next iteration, next incarnation of rebellion in broadcasting is simply the controversial way of delivering Stugotz energetic, enthusiastic commentary, some bombast around what it is that you're doing, as opposed to just taking and just enjoying that you're there and having that enjoyment be contagious. What are you laughing about, Billy?
Well, we were just talking about this wedding because you were talking about good energy and McAfee, and I said I don't think I'd be able to hang with McAfee. Like, he just seems to be too high energy for me. Like, I don't I know people want to be around him. I don't think he'd want to be around me. I don't think I'd be able to have this energy. And I go, honestly, Probably same thing with this wedding. Like, if I were invited to this wedding, I'd be the worst person at this wedding because I wouldn't have the energy that professional wrestlers have. Like, I'd be the most boring person there. And then Chris said, "Oh, me too." Like,
Try to make him feel better.
He's like, "Oh, me too." I go, "No, Chris, you could light up a dance floor." And he's like, "No. Like, at a celebrity wedding, I'd just be quiet." And then Whitty just turned around and said, "Get a couple drinks in Chris Cody." Like, he'd be the star of the wedding. He's like, "I know. I just wanted to be humble."
It is true. A couple of drinks and he'll be spinning on his back.
I'll do the Michael Jackson kick on the dance floor.
You're going to you throw some cardboard on the floor and start spinning on your back.
It'd be a Monday Night Raw in like 3 weeks.
This episode is brought to you by the new podcast, Fast and Loose F1. Formula One drivers live life in the fast lane, both on and off the track, and Wondery's new podcast, Fast and Loose F1, hosted by Will Arnett, is here to cover it all. From McLaren to Ferrari to Mercedes, from Lewis Hamilton to Daniel Ricciardo, the world's most prestigious and fastest F1 teams challenge each other on the world stage. On Fast and Loose F1, you'll hear from the top drivers, managers, and team owners to get inside access into the high-stakes drama of the chase to win the greatest racing competition. Smartless co-host Will Arnett will be joined by two-time world champion, the Flying Finn Mika Hakkinen, revealing the high-speed twists and turns after every F1 race. Listen to Fast and Loose F1 on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts, or listen ad-free by subscribing to Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
What's up, everyone? 10-Day Tony here. You guys know I love staying active, whether it's hitting the gym, shooting hoops, or any other kind of sport. Even I have trouble with staying consistent, but I want to let you guys in on a little secret. Come here, come closer. I know that gym intimidation, shout out to Chris Cody, is a real thing. And it's tough to get over that when you're getting back in the swing of staying active. The most important thing is showing up and having a plan, which is why I love Fitbod. It's the smart workout app that customizes an exercise program to my goals, equipment, and schedule. I could even do it in the shipping container if I had to. Some of my favorite things about the Fitbod app is the user-friendly interface that takes me step by step on building a workout plan that's right for me. Their algorithm uses data and analytics to scientifically build your best next workout and maximize results. For personalized workouts that get tougher as you do, join me and download the Fitbod app. Fitbod works on your iOS and Android devices too. Get 25% off your subscription or try out the app for free when you sign up right now at fitbod.me/Dan. Again, that's 25% off your subscription or try free right now at fitbod.me/Dan.
Don Batard.
You getting started on the breakfast flan?
Oh man, I've been singing the song to myself all morning long. Breakfast flan.
Stugotz.
Have you never heard the breakfast flan song?
No, hit me with it.
Okay. I wish I had some breakfast flan. Breakfast flan. Where can I find a breakfast like that?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Dan for a special offer when you sign up. That's code Dan, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Stugotz, what am I supposed to do with the coverage around Tom Brady? I told you this when he took the sabbatical for 11 days and he was able somehow to come back with the quote, "I'm 45, a lot of shit happens." I've, throughout his career, marveled at Tom Brady's ability to keep all things private. With that level of fame, we don't allow you to make those choices. We are invasive. And TMZ and others are now very comfortable reporting gossip about his marriage. I don't know what's true, what's not true. What I immediately assumed when he had 11 days off is that there was emergency stuff that needed to be tended to. And we went down the path, hypothetically, of how does Gisele Bündchen, who is every bit as successful in her realm, which is also difficult. People think it's just taking pictures, Stugotz. You just take pictures. It's a difficult way to make a living. She was, or is, the world supermodel. And she's had to sacrifice her career and been quoted as saying, Tom gets to focus on his career and I have to take care of the kids, but I also have a career. She's been quoted by him as saying that she wants him back home. She wants him to be done with football. What an interesting conundrum to have, Stugotz, because all of us as men would want the fountain of youth forever in our careers. But what makes his career any more important than her career?
No, it's a great point. And nothing really makes his career more important than her career. Dan, he said it. I'm 45. I've got a lot of shit going on. And it's true. They have a lot of stuff going on at this time of their life. That he has a kid who's just started playing high school football. They have two or three other kids. She wants to move on with her career. She wants Tom to be home more, to be with the kids, to be a better father, to be a better husband, and to free up some time so she can go pursue some of the things that she wants to do. I mean, I think this is just like what you do with it. I don't think you do anything with it. I think they have to work it out, figure it out, because they're going through what a lot of married couples.
I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what. Wait a minute. I'm not.
It feels icky talking about their marriage before we know for sure he wasn't on The Masked Singer.
This is what I am asking.
I think he acknowledged this, Billy, on his own radio show. So
I'm asking you, Stugotz, when I ask you what am I supposed to do with it, there are things that are allowed to be private, but we do not allow famous people to have their privacies. And while I don't know what is going on in their marriage, there's a lot of reporting that doesn't feel very firm, that doesn't feel very good. It seems like, doesn't mean it's wrong, but there's reporting about big fights. And I really don't know how to discuss the most prominent athlete in America, what's going on in his marriage, what's fair to discuss as soon as he takes the 11 days off. You'll remember that we left Tiger Woods and that stuff all alone right up until there was a police report and there's a golf club through the back window of his car. And now all of a sudden the privacy gets breached everywhere because they've invited us in with details. Once Tom Brady leaves for 11 days, that you could keep some of this stuff private right up until he leaves for 11 days. Then you've got teammates are bothered by this, even if he's Tom Brady. Nobody likes a different set of rules in that workplace.
Teammates? They can shut up. Like what teammate does Tom Brady have that's like, Tom, you got to pull your own weight around here, buddy.
But Tom Brady would be that guy for other people. Like, this is unprofessional behavior on the eve of a season to just often leave. That the sort of future of this organization is on the whims of a 45-year-old. Like, it is sort of bizarre. It's a very bizarre working environment for a sports team. It might work because Tom Brady has overcome everything that's come his way in his career. But, yeah, I mean, this is not the way to start an NFL season. It's not professional by any standard. And I do sort of wonder, like, because you brought up Tiger Woods. What have we learned, I guess, in the 13-year since? We talked about what have we learned in the aftermath of Manti Te'o. Like, wedging ourselves in the personal relationships, celebrity couples that are in the headlines all the time, like, you know, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Like, what have we actually learned?
That was dicier, though, Whitty. There was infidelity involved. There was a golf club to the back of his car involved. Like, there was other stuff involved there. Just this,
but we wedged.
This seems to be like a guy. This seems to be like a guy in Tom Brady who is still great at this thing that he does and has no reason it's still being this great at his profession, and they're trying to figure out how to work their way through it. That's what it seems like from the reporting, where, you know, she wants him to be home more. He probably made promises that he would be home more, and he's not fulfilling those promises, and she's had enough of it. And so, I mean, it's a totally different situation.
But again, what have we learned, right? Like, are we in a position to judge from on high the relationships of other people? Like, that's sort of, I think, what we've learned about celebrity culture in the last few years, have we not? Like, and it's in the newspapers, right? It's in the New York Post, page 6. It's in People magazine. There are a bunch of sources, you know, saying things about the relationship dynamic between this couple. At the same time, though, like, I've never really been that comfortable with that, and I'm not going to speculate until things develop.
That's not the part of this that I'm interested in. Whether or not they're having marital problems is not the part I'm interested in. The part I'm interested in is just Tom Brady at 45 years old has no precedence for his excellence, and now we're asking him for balance at a position that's inherently lopsided, where Drew Brees is always in the facility at 10 p.m. and he's saying, as everyone's leaving, excellence is lonely. If a wife requests balance from you, and you're in that position, can you give her balance? Is it even possible during an NFL season? My wife doesn't like when football comes around. My wife rolls her eyes at September because her Sundays get taken. I'm not kidding you.
Join the club.
I'm not joking. She's like, how long is this thing? This was this week. I'm like, oh, we go
They
till
added
February.
another week to this last year.
More games. More games.
God.
Is it possible, is what I'm asking you, Stugotz, is what just...
Oh, you have to work Sunday night. Great.
Is what Gisele Bündchen is what a wife or a partner might be requesting from Tom Brady. Is it possible?
Yeah, I think it is. Like, at this point, Whittingham, I understand what you're saying. If you're one of his teammates, though, when Brady says, hey, I am going to show up to the stadium once a week, no more practices, I'm done. I'll be there at 12:45, enough time to get the pads on, maybe get a quick stretch in, work out the shoulder a little bit, make a couple of throws to Mike Evans, okay? And I'm going to leave at 4:05. I am gone. Occasionally, I'll be there at 3:55 for a 4:05 start. I'll be gone by 7:15, home in time for dinner. If he said that to you, you're one of his teammates, okay? You are agreeing to that on the spot. Are you not? I mean, who cares? If anyone could pull that off with no practice and just show up for the games, Tom Brady could pull it off. And so, yeah, there's a way where he just shows up for the games. Who cares?
And you tell your teammates, look, if this is an issue, blame Gabbert, okay?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the option.
Right. Here are your choices. Right here. Kyle Trask.
That is funny, Stugotz. Now, do you want to actually entertain my question or not really?
No, it's impossible, Dan.
To entertain my question or impossible?
No. To have life balance while playing quarterback in the NFL.
I also think, like, if you're Tom Brady, you're doing something that is so generation-defying, sport-defying, human-defying. Being good at a sport at age 45, you're doing something that literally no one has ever done. How could you, as someone who's come up in sport and values everything that sport gives you, not want every drop of being good at 45?
Is what he's doing any worse than what Gronk's going to do, which is just show up in the middle of the season because he didn't want to go through training camp?
Yeah, but Gronk's not married.
I'm just saying, in terms of, like, you guys are like, this is so unprofessional. He disappeared right before the season starts. Like, Gronk's going to show up in the middle of the season, and then they'll make the playoffs, and everyone will be perfectly
Gronk isn't
happy.
being paid right now for what it is that he's doing. Billy, you don't have to take this up with me. I would say to you that Tom Brady should be able to make all his own rules in his workplace, or largely his own rules. I trust him to be responsible about that. I just don't. We'll talk to TJ Houshmandzadeh about this later, but I just don't think in that sport. Well, I mean, you can speak to this in basketball, the availability of a teammate. I don't know how much Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden broke up over availabilities, but when one guy looks over, no matter who he is, at another guy in the locker room, even though there are rules for everybody that are different, these guys notice when they have to run and they have to be in meetings and someone else and their leader doesn't have to be.
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that the first place I heard that Gisele and Tom Brady might be having some issues was right here on this very program. I got it.
He fought through it.
Yeah.
He's got this. Don't worry.
Was on this very program.
It was.
And it was you, Dan Levitard, who said, I have a career too, and now you want me to raise the kids? You're supposed to raise the kids. You were the first one. You were the first one to bring that up, Dan. And so when the news broke, I was like, man, this Dan Levitard guy is a reporter or what? He had all the sources, and he just passed it off as reckless speculation. So I sit here today and say, Dan, did you know? Or was that just an educated guess?
Did you come close to answering the question I threw to you?
I asked the question back.
Someone just answered Dan's
What's the question?
What's the question?
Did you say we're going to discuss this with a former Bengals wide receiver?
I got so excited, Stugotz.
Why did you get so excited?
TJ Houshmandzadeh?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Just falling out of the sky. Like, whoa, where'd he come from?
What's next?
Mid-2000s football, that is like the pinnacle of a name you can drop from mid-2000s football.
Witty, if I give you Troy Polamalu.
Wow.
Nah.
Willie
No?
Parker.
Oh.
We're already this old where we can play this for the football now.
Past Willie Parker. I mean,
The question was, I mean, you fought through the phlegm, and then you just
like, you know what?
You did what players and coaches do in press conferences, where they don't care what the question is; they're going to say what they've got to say. Whether teammates get mad at other teammates disappearing for 11 days, or having a different set of rules, or getting to do work differently than the way that they're doing work.
I present to you the Clippers of 2 or 3 years ago when Kawhi Leonard was living in San Diego, and Patrick Beverley and Lou Williams and the guys who were there before Paul George and Kawhi got there were upset that there was a separate set of rules for these guys and that Kawhi wasn't around. And when he was hurt, he didn't sit on the bench. He sometimes he wouldn't show up. Sometimes he'd show up, he'd sit in the luxury box. That was a classic example of, yeah, we get it. He's great. He's better than all of us. But why does he have a separate set of rules? And then if you talk to some people weren't even upset that Kawhi was doing that. They would say, Kawhi, we get it. 2-time finals MVP, champ, all that stuff. But Paul George gets this treatment too? There are some people questioning that. And again, I don't think anyone questions the talent level or the contribution on the court. But yes, there is a level of, I thought we're all in this together. Now, the difference is with Tom Brady, clearly this is a family issue. So I don't think guys are going to be upset at him because home isn't right, because they all know, man, that can get real ugly real quick, and everyone's been through that situation where you have conflict in the home. So I don't think the guys are going to hold him as kind of sternly accountable as though he were like Kyrie Irving saying, oh, I was really upset about what happened in the news. Like that I think would get a different type of response from his teammates.
If anyone is going to get this kind of carte blanche, it would be this guy. But the reason that I know, to answer your question, I did not know anything, but I assumed either a family member is sick. It was so odd for a leader of this kind who respects teammates and football to have an emergency, and it must be an emergency at home, for him to leave preparation 11 days early when he's 45 and young people in a place so competitive you don't even understand how competitive it is for money. They all are coming after him, and whatever you think, Stugotz, no matter how easy he makes it look, getting a 45-year-old body ready for whatever Sunday is, no matter your experiences, that work week is a holy hell of preparation for him to get everything out 2 seconds, for him to recognize every defense. Stugotz, he's not coming in with a memorized test. He's got to do that he's got to do that work every single week. And I just think it's really hard to come home. Never mind to come home at a time when you can be with the wife and kids. But even when you are home, to have the energy to be present, Stugotz, to be present in the thing, to not be daydreaming about, holy shit, Myles Garrett is coming across this week. The idea of being present at home at his age in that sphere, I could see how it would be very hard, and I don't see how you can do it part-time.
The job is it's all consuming. But Dan, are you, because they play the Cowboys? He said he's excited. He loves playing in Dallas. He's playing against America's team. Even though we said yesterday that the Lobos are America's team, are you questioning whether or not Tom Brady's going to have a good season? Because I would prefer you not do that, Dan. In fact, don't do it. I care about you.
I have this theory that I haven't come out with yet because of
a good one.
Legalities, and I don't want us to get in trouble as a show. But you know how people have said a number of things like, oh, he was gone because of the massing. Oh, he was gone and his face looks different. He had something, his hair is this or his cheeks or whatever, right? Oh, his family life, blah, blah, blah. I have this theory that I've been thinking, right? What if every offseason for the past 4 or 5 off, because we would agree, right? Granted, what he's doing is unprecedented. We've never seen someone at this age do what he's doing, right? How does he do it? How does his body? Is it Alex Guerrero? Who knows? So I've been thinking, what if for the past 4 or 5 off seasons, he's slowly just been having procedures where he is replacing his knee or his hip and then his other knee and his other hip.
With what?
And he's just putting in bionic, robotic thing, metal pieces, right? So he will never feel any of this pain because he doesn't have bones anymore. It's all just metal and heart and his brain and his arm.
What about emotional pain?
Just the heart.
Yeah. Is it possible that he's had things like that done and it's none of the other things?
It's possible.
It's a good theory.
Dan?
Don't throw that shit back at me. You guys swim in that deep end. Don't throw that at me. Hey, that's always the solution.
We're just asking you if you want to think.
No,
We're not telling you how to think.
I think he's a robot. Yes, I think he's a
How else
robot.
can you been doing it?
Dan, he's a cybernetic organism, living tissue over metal endoskeleton.
We're not telling you how to think, Dan.
I think you are, actually.
We're just asking you. You'd like to.
So no.